Loyal one. One of the issues I saw they listed as to why they want His Excellency to return is apparently because he's the only one that can enable Uganda at this economic takeoff stage and that kind of thing. And
28 years and you're using the word takeoff?
It just does not work. That's the point. You know, if we're to do some juxtaposition here, Singapore, when it did get independence, actually got independence after us. To this date, they've actually multiplied their GDP per capita by about 190 times. We have multiplied ours by about 8 times.
Well, but the argument of Singapore is actually, you know, is vindicating of these schemes by the NRM. Remember, Singapore has been under almost one ruler for all these so many decades, Lee Kuan Yew, and possibly they're trying to make Museveni a Lee Kuan Yew for Uganda. Who knows? Well,
at least the maths do not show if this is, you know, the multiplication here and the other way around. But look, the challenge sometimes is not even the issue of who stays long in power, even though that is something we need to look into. But you see, somebody once told me that Africa has 3 major challenges. The first one is leadership, the second is leadership, the third is leadership. Lee Kuan Yew did a great deal to see that, well, let's root out corruption, let's ensure that things work in our country, you know, and then it ended up becoming a meritocracy, where people actually earn positions on merit.
But without a democracy in the way we understand it, of having free and fair regular elections by universal adult suffrage.
Certainly, there's things I don't agree with that he did. He was very totalitarian towards the press, and I think that wasn't good. But you could see him do certain things, right?
That was the driving force for his achievement.
Well, no, not quite. In principle, he routed out corruption. He made sure that he had people that can deliver. Look at the way we do things here. We get people that make a bit of noise. When they kneel down, tomorrow they'll be appointed youth minister.
Absolutely, because she's delivered. Because she's delivering.
Let me tell you, Ugandans don't can kneel. One people can deliver services.
Is this a show of desperation from the MPs?
Well, maybe you could call it
give the president an assurance that actually these people like me, and so maybe if he had the prospects of retiring in 2016, and maybe he's like, hey.
But he has already said that the party will decide.
Absolutely, and the party here has decided.
Looks like it is about to decide.
Well, just for you to get a peep of what exactly this resolution sounded like, I'll read you a small excerpt, but get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, and so we all win. We therefore do not need to take any chances or attempt to make trials or experiments while selecting a presidential flag bearer. Anybody else
of Mbabazi, presidential candidate,
2016, 2021. Well, I must say we may need to look at that picture very closely. From what I can see from my very ordinary, rudimentary and ill-skilled eye, that is a clear masterpiece of Photoshop genius. Whoever did this,
it's really beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
A wonderful poster of
I don't know if we can get it closer.
The Daily Monitor also has got a list of those 190-something members of parliament belonging to the NRM that signed this resolution. Did you? Prime Minister Mbabazi is not one of those. He's not my MP. I need to check out whether my MP actually did sign.
So that you brand him a traitor or our man?
Well, I just want to see what my MP is doing on my behalf.
You need to keep tabs on him.
I have homes in 3 constituencies. I have one in Nakawa, and the Honorable Hindi is here. I have another in Rujumbura, and the Honorable. I need to check around. Will take us another day. Inside pages of the Daily Monitor, we have a full page dedicated to something that is akin to graft. The Uganda development boss was a 6-year-old CEO, has been involved in quite not very clear dealings, and as we speak now, she's going through the legal process, currently in Luzira prison, having been denied yesterday. Now, but here we are, real estate firm directors on the run over fraud allegations, and the picture has a billboard of Hosanna Real Estate Limited. Do you have a property with these guys? You may need to check again.
Somebody once told me of this machine, and it was down at the ankle. And they said, no, you guys are more corrupt than that. And he said, you see, the problem is I'm stepping on the head of a Ugandan. May God help us.
Now the question is, there's been some commandos hovering through the jungles from the USA.
That is weakest, you know, and that kind of thing. We've had that year in, year out, until they capture the man.
Isn't this, maybe let's look at it from a grander perspective. Your reports show that Kony is at his weakest. In other words, even if he were carried on the shoulders of anybody, he would still be too weak to make any move.
There's the countries to go, you know, if there's trouble somewhere, you go and help out. But also, because of the interest, the rebel groups going into the Congo, into the CR, the South Sudan gives us the passage, the platform to go and pursue the rebels wherever they are.
Exactly. South Sudan. But that letter, we keep hearing of that letter that was sent. No one has showed evidence to that effect, but
well, at least we are doing what a brother needs to do to another brother. Now, in the next magazine, in the Daily Monitor is revisiting the MP Nebanda death saga a year later. But remember, this is not the only unresolved murder. Never mind that she was a very high-profile person. On page 3 of the Daily Monitor, we have an agonizing, currently trending story of the death of this Makerere University Business School student, the late, her name is over here, Emily Akire, whose murderers are still on the loose using her mobile phone, tormenting the family, and the police is, as always, sitting back and taking their sweet time as they move around with their always well choreographed single sentence. Investigations are going on. For how long do these investigations take place? How come you don't take that long to respond to riots or stopping a guy who's driving holding a mobile phone while others are robbing in parts of the neighborhoods where this person is coming from?
You're not using that as an alibi if they arrested you yesterday while you were on phone. But look, this story actually indicates that when they did go to report, police said we shall begin investigations. Is it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow?
Yeah, we are the weekend.
Guys, let's be serious here. This is the murder case. We need to begin investigations now, but clearly now the family doesn't even trust police.
But tell me something. The family doesn't trust police. Do you actually trust police? Has there been a time when you, Joel, have needed police help and it has responded expeditiously to your need?
It's a two-way thing. A few times they actually have. Other times they are a disappointing lot. But it's because we do not have many options.
Let's put on tell you something about the Ugandan
I'll give
police.
them 4. That's below average.
Far below average. Now let me give you a bit of my personal experience with the police. They are there when I least need them, and they never stop you down to ask whether you have third party. But get a robber to your house, calling them down.
Well, maybe I'll give them some credit. It's just that on a holistic setting, if you like, I think they need to up their game. They need to pull up their socks. And that's why I give them 4.
And you know, once
average, but
the presidential press secretary, Tamale Mirundu, once intimated that, you know, sometimes I don't blame people who will take on mob justice. If you get the guys that killed this woman, and I'm not advocating for mob justice.
You had better make that clear.
You know, I'm not. But what does the police want us to do?
It has denied reports that they actually summoned Kano Kizza Besigye. Now that's a very interesting story. More like playing out with what's happening in Chankwanzi. Now recently, retired Kano Dr. Kizza Besigye, former president of the FDC, said he will not participate in the next gen.
As smaller than individuals, we need to extricate ourselves from that, because if we are talking about building a democracy, building strong institutions, and yet you say, without you, we are nothing, and the other side, it's the same story here.
Who in FDC would give President Museveni a run for his money? Apart
we need to build capacity, and
who do you think?
The issue shouldn't just be who has potential to outwit this guy. They've all begun from scratch. Let's build capacity. Well, who looks like a good man, a man with a good head on his shoulders, I think he could make some positive strides.
Going into the politics once again, there's an interesting cartoon in the Daily Monitor here where depicting the opposition in Uganda with a huge stack of demands prior to 2012. Having lost some of those demands this year, especially given yesterday's discussion with the 10 demands that they have put across. And it is anticipated from this cartoon that by 2016, there won't be any demands in this demand bag, and they will go back to the rest as empty-handed as they always did. A quote from
what did you read that quote, please?
Coming in from former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya about the NRM caucus. He says, and I quote, "Such extravagant use of government money to take people to Chankwanzi to illegally endorse a candidate is an abuse of office."
How come he wasn't saying that when he was vice president?
And he has always been one of those that have propagated the gospel of let this man remain in power. And you see, that's why Ugandans are ceasing to trust politicians. When it favors them, they cheer on. When tomorrow their fingers get burned,
Dr. Bukenya,
they begin to